about to enter a new dimension in television, a dimension of 3D sight, sound, and space.
If there's one franchise that's the undisputed king of leveraging its name for profit, it's the Amityville Horror. What started as a supposedly true story about a haunted house in the great parking lot known as Long Island has since become a dumping ground for unrelated scripts, cheap sequels, and straight-to-video cash grabs. But before the franchise completely lost its way, there was a brief era where it at least tried to maintain some semblance of a theme, even if it was a stretch. I'm talking about the Amityville Cursed Object series. Starting with the aptly titled The Evil Escapes in 1989, the franchise shifted its focus from the infamous haunted house to cursed items that were somehow connected to the original Amityville property.
Are you crazy? It started by itself!
Whether it was a mirror, a clock, this funky ass lamp, or in the case of Amityville Dollhouse, you guessed it, a miniature replica of the house. These films tried to tie the evil back to the source in the most tenuous way possible.
I don't like them being called a series because technically these four were not an extension of the first three.
You see though, there was a method to this madness. The shift away from solely focusing on the infamous Amityville house toward incorporating cursed objects is generally seen as a creative decision made to expand the franchise's narrative possibilities. Though all this stretching would eventually result in a ruptured as stories centered on the house started to lose steam, returning to the same location again risked feeling repetitive and lazy. Introducing cursed objects allowed the filmmakers to explore new types of malevolence, the kind found in home goods and appliances.
Oh! Can you see that, Richard? Satan lives. Just terrible.
But even within this already loose and bizarre subseries, Amityville Dollhouse stands out as the black sheep. While films like A New Generation and It's About Time at least tried to maintain a serious tone, Dollhouse leans fully into campy, over-the-top horror. The film follows a family who moves into a new home, only to find that the father has discovered a mysterious dollhouse in their shed, bearing an uncanny similarity to the Amityville house. Red flag? F it. But oops, the dollhouse is cursed, and naturally the father gives it to his daughter as a last-minute birthday present. But who built it? Why did they build it? How did it get imbued with evil? Does it even matter?
It don't matter. None of this matters.
Now to be clear, this movie has absolutely nothing to do with the original Amityville story.
Amityville Dollhouse. The horror continues January 7th.
There's no house in Long Island, no Jody the Pig, no creepy red room. Instead, we get the annoying little shipboy from Sherman's Way.
My name is Sherman Van Clydesdale III.
Palling around with his dead dad.
Wouldn't that be cool?
An occult Warlock biker.
You got wasps.
And a series of increasingly ridiculous goof-em-ups. It's like the filmmakers took a random haunted house script, slapped the Amityville name on it, and called it a day. And honestly, that's par for the course with this franchise. The Amityville series is the biggest offender when it comes to leveraging a recognizable name to sell unrelated horror films. Over the years, we've gotten Amityville movies about toilets, backpacks, Karens, and even
marital aids.
It's a franchise that long ago stopped caring about its own mythology, and instead became a brand name for low-budget horror. What makes Dollhouse so different from the other cursed object films is its tone. While A New Generation and It's About Time played things relatively straight, Dollhouse feels like a dark comedy. The deaths are absurd, the dialogue's hilariously offbeat, and the whole thing has a surreal, made-for-TV quality that sets it apart from the rest of the series. But I must admit, as much as Amityville Dollhouse is a blatant cash grab, it's also entertaining in its own way. The cursed dollhouse premise is undeniably silly, but it's also fun. It's something I almost certainly would have rented and watched with some friends back in the day. It's a perfect example of how even the most shameless franchise entries can still have their charms, if you're in the right mindset. Over the years, Amityville has evolved from a genuinely terrifying name into a kind of cultural shorthand, almost a meme, for low-budget horror. In the indie circuit, where filmmakers often work with limited resources, using the name serves as a quick hook for viewers, even if that often means the title comes off as a tongue-in-cheek nod to its own overuse. Its repeated and ironic use has led some to view it as a bit of a running joke within the genre. But while Amityville Dollhouse may not be a great movie, it's certainly an entertaining one. It's a reminder of how far the Amityville franchise has strayed from its roots, and how it's managed to keep churning out films by slapping its name on just about anything. If you like this, be sure to check out the other Black Sheep and Horror entries, and I'll see you next time. A massive thank you to my Patreon supporters. If you would like to support this channel, you can find those links in the description. Bye bye.
Next time, let's just rent.